Well, Chuck, this video is meant to help answer that question about operational leverage. What we have here is the Norfolk newsroom. This is my biggest operation. This is where I can run every single television station from and pretty much every radio station from if I need to. This is a 3-seat newsroom that fits Norfolk perfectly. You can see here that each one of these locations is on our statewide news system, so I can actually do radio reports on the station in Nebraska City or Beatrice, or even in Omaha, and I can move video around. This is my statewide system where I keep track of my Google Analytics on every single website that I have, and I can tell if they're on their mobile, if they're on their desktop, if they're on tablet. I can tell what stories they're looking at, and I can see every story coming into the system at any time. Schuyler man sentenced to 30 to 40 years for attempted murder. In just a moment, you're going to see that we had a situation in Columbus where they were missing a 13-year-old girl. Columbus police notified us. We're able to push that across the entire state to be that information provider, and that's the flashing red. Everything is right here. It's all multimedia. In here, we have a radio studio that I could go to any radio station in the state that I own and get on immediately. Right now, this is on 94.7, which is a classic hit station with lots of news in the Norfolk area. Let's go into the number one and the biggest production control that we own, and this basically can create a newscast for any television station that I'm on right now. Beatrice, Columbus, Norfolk. If someday I'm in a different city and I can use it for the purposes that you and I have talked about, the anchor, together with the production assistant here, Lane, can do a story in a moment's notice. We can monitor anything. This is a Norfolk station. This is the Norfolk Weather Nation. I can pull up Columbus. I can pull up Beatrice. Here's our IP-based switching system where we can immediately push something out to the rest of the state. Everything is branded with News Channel Nebraska. As we move in here, instead of having to have servers all over the state like other TV stations do, I have one server room that is ready to have 3 very large racks here. This is a switcher for the entire company. These are sending our TV signals out across the state. Here's a server that's running the Columbus station. Here's a server that's running Beatrice. Here's a server that's running Norfolk. We have more servers ready to take on other markets, and you can see we've got plenty of room in the rack. And I have the room cooled with an $8,000 air conditioner that I don't have to put in every market, and I've got service techs that are here, they're ready to run it. Here is my largest TV studio for the entire company. Built this from scratch, 4 cameras available. You can see behind me, I've got a weather center over there. I've got, I can switch over here and put on the main monitor anything that I want. We'll put on News Channel Nebraska. You can see that right behind me, the anchor can sit right here. Everything I built from scratch in this room. Of course, I can do the weather. I don't have to have a weatherman in each market. I can basically do the weather for any part of Nebraska using this green screen, looking at the camera, and I can see the weather right here, and I can just point to it in any direction. So from an operational standpoint, I can use Norfolk as a hub of operations. What you see here is probably what a full power station would spend $2 million on. I built this for probably, I'd say, $275,000. Now in Columbus, you'll see that they use everything for all purposes, but in Columbus, they have one step down from Norfolk, and I'll let Brandon Axement, our superstar in Columbus, explain that.
Hey Mike, this is Brandon down in Columbus, just a few miles south of Norfolk, where basically we can serve as the backup to Norfolk should anything go wrong. We have about 1/5 of the staff and a lot less space, but we're still able to operate and be fully functional on our own, running a 24-hour TV station with Columbus and hyper-local content. Right now, we are in the opening room when you come in the door. Here's our miniature sales desk, and it also serves as a little bit of a studio. We've used shots for this before. You see the bottom lines currently running from the Omaha World Herald, but we have our 2 seats right here. We have lights above us, and we've conducted numerous interviews right here, and this serves as one of 3 different looks that we can have in our Columbus studios. If you come back this way, right down the hall, we take you to the newsroom, where of course all the magic happens and the content generation really takes place. This also serves as a studio where we anchor newscasts from right here. We have our 1 camera and teleprompter. We have an anchor who sits right there. Of course, we have our whiteboard where we map everything out for the day. throughout sports and news. Of course, just like Norfolk, we have analytics. We can monitor all the different websites, all the different stories and how they're doing. We have the RCS ticker across the board, have Fremont News, Columbus News, Norfolk News, anything in Flood Communications Network. Of course, here's our radio board. Just like Norfolk, we have the capabilities through a barracks box to go live on any of the radio stations throughout the company. And of course, our 2 editing stations with our iMacs and our RCS News computers in either corner. This is the Columbus News. This is our Weather Nation. We have the capabilities to monitor both of our channels or any of the Norfolk channels as well right here in the newsroom. Now, our third look of our offices down here in Columbus is our green screen room. And this, of course, is where all the magic happens in terms of sports. As a part of Flood Communications, we basically pump out sports for the Columbus market, the Norfolk market, and the Southeast Nebraska market every night. Myself, along with producer Aaron Trout, I'll be right here, and you will have 3 scripts run right down the line. We'll start off with Norfolk, then do Southeast Nebraska, then Columbus. So I'll be talking about, a track meet in Wayne for one sportscast, and then also how state baseball is doing for Nebraska City down in Southeast Nebraska. Through the 3 markets, we pump it out each night, and our sportscasts are going all over the state. The production room back here, which Aaron Trout is our producer, who does all of the graphics, all the fun stuff, and this is his baby right here. This is the TriCaster like you saw up in Norfolk. The big thing that's special about Columbus is it is in something called a Portacast, which is this box, and basically it is a mobile, fully functional, fully moving television studio. We can pack this thing up, roll it out of the studio, we put it in a van, and we are doing live sports broadcasts from football to baseball to soccer. We've done districts, we've done basketball, we've done volleyball. It all happens by just taking this thing, moving it, and along with a live view, we are doing live sports broadcasts as well as producing our news and sportscasts every night with this guy right here. Here's our rack, as you can see, smaller to the one in Norfolk, but still the capabilities that keeps us up and functional as that backup system for Norfolk should we need to be called upon. So that's basically what the Columbus operation has to offer. So we'll just throw it back up to you, Mike, in Norfolk, and you can continue showing what the rest we have going on.
Well, that was Brandon in Columbus, and he is certainly one of our best. He's running the Columbus area. Now, behind me, I'm still in Norfolk, and you can see this looks pretty legitimate. I built the same thing out for $6,000, basically. The whole operation cost me about $15,000 in Falls City. Now, Jay and Elise work in Falls City, and I'm going to have one of them tell you how we run all of Beatrice TV out of Falls City for about $15,000, and I'll show you what our third step down looks like in a small community. I can see something like this in Ogallala, in Alliance, in Chadron. Any of those markets could be the spot for a panhandle TV station, and it's what I call, a mini set that isn't as big as this. Certainly it's only in one room, and it's very cost efficient with the equipment. So take it away.
I'm here in Falls City at the Falls City studio, where, as you can see, we have an entire news anchor set up here. We anchor all the newscasts for Southeast Nebraska's News Channel Nebraska. That is Fairbury, Beatrice, and Falls City that we put all into one newscast, and this entire backdrop here with all the lights and everything costs less than $15,000. We have a camera right here that has the teleprompter and everything that we read off. Then we come over here and we have all of our computers. We have everything that we need. We have our switcher set up all here on the computer that we can mess with for our newscast. We also have the PowerPoint that plugs into the TV over there as well, and we hook up to our Nebraska City radio station as well. Right over here is our little switcher for that, and we can link right up to Nebraska City with that board and do live newscasts. We do a lot of weather updates from there as well. So we are very, very capable and very linked with everybody, and we run basically an entire newscast for the entire southeast part of the state, and we are the news leader here in Richardson County as well as in the rest of southeast Nebraska.
Now, this is the traditional shot that's in Norfolk that is in the Norfolk newsroom shot, and this looks legit. Basically, it's smoke and mirrors. What we have here is basically just a half wall that I can move anywhere I want. It's no more than that, and this cost me about $150, maybe that's exaggerating, but I have the same look in Beatrice, and it looks just as sharp on TV. Now, I want to have Doug Lowry stand in front of the Beatrice newsroom, and you'll see that it's a similar look. And in Beatrice, inside that radio station, I've spent about $15,000 or less probably really $10,000 to create an entire TV newsroom out of a radio station, and I'll let Doug explain that a little bit better.
Thanks, Mike. I'm here in the Beatrice newsroom, and as you can see behind me here, a used newsroom. We use it every day for all of our reporting needs, but we slide a wall in behind us, and we can turn on some lights, and we have a very easy shot to send reported packs. We can open them and close them. We have Doug Kennedy come in here every morning and report the headline news from Beatrice. We've had interviews in here with coaches, new hired coaches, when we didn't have a better backdrop and we didn't really have B-roll. It's a great place to do an interview. You have a very professional setting behind you. We've used it twice in the same newscast. We had Doug Kennedy come in and deliver results from one election, and then we had Brian Cook and deliver more results from two other elections, and it was used at the start and the end of a same newscast by just saying, hey, we're going to go back to the Beatrice newsroom to Brian Cook. So it's a very easy and efficient way to get a very professional look.
Finally, we've talked about it, but this is my chief meteorologist, Jeff Fox. I pay him to do the weather in Norfolk, Columbus, and Beatrice, and I pay him maybe 1/3 of what Bill Ramby at Channel 7 gets paid, and I get a guy that was on the air in Connecticut for 28 years and is very, very good. This just kind of shows you that I'm using technology, I'm using a little smoke and mirrors, and good reporters to make a television network happen on a fraction of what 1011 would pay, and my news is much, much more local and cost effective. I don't know if that answers your question. I'm trying to figure out in my head the best way to show you operational leverage, and this is, I think, one step in that effort. Thanks for watching.